Yo, what's going on, everybody? It is Straight Out of Boston, and today I'm back for episode number 2 of my Tampa Bay Rays series here on Out of the Park Baseball 18. I never know what to call these things. Series, franchise, modes, let's plays, I have no idea. But either way, we are back. Episode 2, we are here for the midseason episode for 2017. So we are at the day of the first-year player draft. So far, 26-33 on the season. 59 games into the year, so kind of around where I thought we'd be. Not like full on suck, we're not 10 games under 500, 15 games under 500, but pretty bad. Slightly competitive, but even so, we were kind of hovering around 500 for a little bit, and we've slipped as of late. We've been relatively healthy. Kiermaier has been out, though, for a little while. That's obviously a big loss. He's one of our best players. We lost Longoria for a week, which is pretty big because he's having a monster year. As you can see, only on pace for 126 games, but in those 126 games, he would be on pace for 7.8 WAR. So it could be the time to trade. It could be the perfect time to trade him while the value is high. However, I have shopped him around a little bit and haven't really been getting the offers that I'm looking for. So we'll see on that. But it does look like we are going to be sellers. I would kind of be surprised if we ended up making a run kind of back towards the wild card spot if we were able to compete for a wild card spot. So, as of now, it looks like we're going to be sellers, but I'm not going to be making any moves quite yet. I want to wait until we get closer to the deadline. Things will be a little bit more established by then, a little bit more defined, I guess would be the way I would want to phrase it. So let's get into the first-year player draft. We're going to be picking 4th overall. That's going to be a really nice pick. Hopefully, we can get a really nice player. Cancel. I don't want to do that. Auto draft until the next pick by Tampa. So number 4, and we're looking at all players and those who Theo likes best. So we will see. It looks like this one guy, Keston Hiura, MJ Melendez, a catcher with some power. I kind of like Evan Skaug, another catcher, 4.5 star. I like this Austin Beck. He's got good ratings, good defensive outfielder, can run the bases a little bit. So I might like Beck the most out of these guys, to be frank, even though he might not have quite the ceiling that... Although I do like this MJ Melendez. Hura I don't love as much because he doesn't really seem to have a position, and his offensive ratings don't really do it for me. It would be nice if Theo was off and he had 65 avoid K, but if he only has 50 avoid K, I don't think he's going to be that great of a hitter. So this is kind of disappointing. I'm surprised there aren't better prospects available. There's some familiar names like JB Bukowskis. We could look a little bit further down the list. Maybe I shouldn't just stop at the 4 stars. Alex Fado. Good ratings, decent ratings. So I might have to take my time here and make a decision. I do really like this Austin Beck, though. At the very least, he's going to have good gap power. He might be the move, actually. I think I'm going to go Beck. That $4 million signing bonus gives me confidence that I think he will be good. So he's our first draft pick, 4th overall. Melendez does fall into the second round. I'm not sure about some of those arms that I wanted. We're going to scoop up Melendez while we can, though. Although, okay. So we only have $4 million left in our remaining draft budget room. So maybe I should hold off on that. We already spent more than we were slotted to on our first pick. Maybe we should hold off. So let's keep looking at our prospects. Here's Tanner Burns. Doesn't look too bad. I don't like a lot of these bats, though. Hunter Alexander wouldn't be too bad either. He doesn't look like he'd be terrible. There's one other guy. Who was it? Maybe it was Annunziata. So maybe we'll do Annunziata, and then even Burns is kind of expensive. Let's do Annunziata, 2nd round. 3rd round, some of these guys are still available here. KJ Bryant. But I don't know, it's different. I mean, I haven't done a lot of drafts on this game yet, so knowing kind of what ratings I need to look for, I haven't really figured all those out yet, so we're going to go Cordell Dunn. I like him the most. Still a lot of these guys available. We could take a chance on Melendez. At the very least, if we don't get him, then we get the compensation pick next year, so hard to lose in a situation like that. Now starting to thin out a little bit here. J.D. Andreessen. Let's see, anyone else? Anyone with a name that I even would recognize, but not really. Sorry, I think I'm just going to skip the rest of the draft. So we will negotiate with our prospects here, and then I think I won't even cut out for the simulation. So I talked about in the past how activating some of the foreign professional leagues slows down the simulation, but it appears that with the releasing of the actual game, I'm not going to be able to afford Melendez, it's too bad. The simulation actually has been moving a lot faster with these other leagues active, so you'll see you get through days pretty quickly. Maybe it's just me adjusting to the new simulation speed, I don't know. But we'll simulate a little bit here. Keep our eye on the waiver wire. And I'm sure we'll get messages about our guys that we just drafted. So I probably should mention some of the call-ups we've made. We did call up Casey Gillespie, who was having a pretty good year in AAA to start, has struggled since the call-up. We've also called up Jake Bowers, who is right there. Same sort of thing. He was playing relatively well at the beginning of the year in AAA, but not so hot at the big league level. But you can see he's got 3-star rating, so I think, even though he might be struggling, same thing with Gillespie. It's appropriate that we have these guys up right now. Colby Rasmus is having a really good year, so he could be another potential trade candidate. He's on a 1-year contract. We lost, obviously, Kiermaier, so Alex Smith has been getting playing time. Dickerson is on the bench right now. And that would be one thing about moving Longoria, is it could possibly give us a full-time job for Matt Duffy if we wanted to see what we had in him. He's been productive in the small number of ABs that he's gotten. Pitching-wise, been a bit of a disappointment. Archer has not had a good year. Snell has not had a good year. A lot of walks, a lot of control issues for Blake Snell. Odorizzi's been okay. Matt Andriese, who is actually having the best year out of anyone on our staff, surprisingly. But I'm sure that won't keep up, only under 7 Ks per 9, so he's probably not going to keep that up. And Cobb, same thing, the peripherals aren't great on him, but he's another guy that could be a trade candidate, free agent at the end of the year. If he continues to play well, we could probably try and get something for him. Bullpen has been pretty good, to be honest. Colomb is having a really good year. He might make the All-Star team. Boxberger's having a good year. Ramirez, Farquhar, even Tommy Hunter. So those have been some of the things that have kept us afloat here for the most part. I'm going to release Michael Mchenry, who got DFA'd after we activated Wilson Ramos, who's only been active for a few games now. You can see just getting back healthy from his torn ACL. So we'll see if Ramos can turn into a productive catcher. If we got a productive catcher, I really liked that move that the Rays made in real life signing Ramos. He was very good last year, and I think I heard that get in part attributed to this eye surgery that he had in the offseason. So, I'm thinking what his production last year could be sustainable, and if it is, and the Rays have a starting catcher for the next couple of years on a pretty affordable contract, you can see he only makes $4 this year and $8.5 next year, so that would be a nice little deal. And even if we don't play well while he's on the team, then he turns into a really nice trade chip, because a lot of teams could use an upgraded catcher. There just aren't a lot of good offensive catchers around the league these days. So here we go, keeping on with the simulation. You can see we are hitting around the middle of June. We've got the international amateur free agent signing period coming up soon, and this is a big blow. Matt Cobb, 2 to 3 months, torn labrum, so there goes that trade chip. We're not going to be able to get anything for him now, which is too bad. We'll probably just let him walk as a free agent in the offseason. And as for who we're going to call up to replace him, so we had Ryan Stanek up at one point earlier in the year when Cobb went down for a couple weeks. I think he was down for about 2 weeks. And Stanek made 3 starts. It was not very good. So we could go with another reliever and maybe use Erasmo Ramirez as a starter. He has 35 stamina. I don't know if if his ratings would be best suited in that role. So maybe we go with the starter. Could go with Stanek is probably the guy I'm trying to think, maybe Austin Pruitt, but I think Stanek is going to be our guy. So we'll see what he can do, and we'll keep an eye. This is where the waiver wire would come in handy, is if we could kind of pluck a serviceable 5th starter off the waiver wire and not have to rush Stanek to the major league level before he is ready, because I'm not sure he's ready, but we'll see. So staying afloat, we're only 5 games under 500 right now. Not too bad. Like I said, not full-on suck. which is kind of what I expected. We've got a lot of serviceable Major League players on this roster. Too many to really be one of the, like, even 5 worst teams in the league, I think. But we'll see. I think we'll probably end up as one of the 10 worst, and we'll get another top 10 draft pick and hopefully hit on that. I'm hoping Austin Beck turns into a serviceable player for us. I don't think he's going to be a superstar, but if we got a everyday center fielder out of that, I'd be pretty pleased. And, you might be thinking, why get an everyday center fielder when you already have Kiermaier? I'm not really sold on keeping Kiermaier for the long term. His extension is very affordable, so there's definitely no rush to move him, but his sort of player build, the type of player that he is, it's not that I don't value defense and base running, especially at a spot in center field. Those two traits, especially the defense, is very valuable. But the thing is, his offensive production, I just don't like the type of hitter that he is. He doesn't get on base a lot. It's for a little bit of pop, but really not even that much. And if he hits like this, he's got his OBP 330. If he gets this back up to 330, and he continues, he's hitting for a little bit more power this year. So I wouldn't mind it, but at the same time, he represents a very valuable trade chip. And if he's, he might not be a true superstar for us, but he might be able to get us a superstar haul in a trade package, especially because teams are always looking for center fielders. So if I think our window of contention is going to be closer to 4, 5, 6 years down the road, I think Kiermaier could eventually become a chip that we try to flip for some prospects. But we'll see. I mean, the thing about this Rays team is our farm system really isn't in that bad a shape. So I don't think we have to make drastic deals. I think a Longoria deal is kind of obvious for a few different reasons. One, I don't want him hitting his 10-5 right, so that way we'll be stuck with him as he ages into his mid-30s and is still making, $15, $16, $17 million a year. So I think the Longoria one makes a lot of sense. Kiermaier less so, just because he is younger, his contract's more affordable. Same thing with Archer, younger and more affordable. So that's kind of my thinking on those pieces. But we're starting to kind of slip back now. 13.5 games back in the division. 8 games under 500. Playing Pittsburgh right now. We're coming up on July 1st. Ooh, Christian Vasquez on waivers. I'm definitely going to claim him. Doesn't make a lot of sense on the Red Sox part. And that is the one nice thing about being a bad team, is that you do have a high waiver priority. Of course, we're not even going to get Vasquez because the White Sox put a claim on him. But you do have a high waiver priority, so when guys like that become available, usually you have a good chance of getting them. Unfortunately for us, we're not going to get Vasquez. Not the end of the world. All right, let's do international amateur free agents. So we've got $5 million we can spend. Up to $5 million. I'm probably gonna all spend it on one guy. I think I like this guy, Yeson Sabalo, more than Hector Lucero. They're both catchers, but I like Sabalo's ability to walk a little bit more, even if the other guy has a tad bit more power. So we're gonna go after Sabalo, offer him the full 5, and we'll see if he accepts. Of course, we don't have the budget room for that. Okay, so if we want to sign free agents, we have to move some money right now. So that could be Rasmus. It's not going to be Cobb. It's after 8 more weeks, and I think I turned off trading injured players, so we're stuck with him. Could be Dickerson. It's not going to be Ramos. Could be, even if getting rid of Dickerson's not going to free up all the money. So we'll shop around Longoria. If we can make a Longo deal right now, then maybe we pull the trigger so we can get the extra money to spend on international amateurs, because that is an important outlet for us to be able to acquire talent through. So we'll see. I'm not going to hesitate to trade him in the division. I saw a couple names on the Red Sox pop up there. I think that would be a worthwhile trade partner, just because they have good prospects and they have a needed third base. So we're starting to get more prospect offers too, which I like. When I searched before, I was really only finding other trades for other veterans, even though they might be good veterans. It's not really what I'm looking for. So we'll see. I saw Richard Urina's name. I see a couple big names on the Mets here. I wouldn't mind Addison Reed and Zach Wheeler. Wheeler he's only got 2 years of team control left, but if we could get a young arm from the Mets, I would like that a lot. Richard Urina. So this is a guy who's been very good in OOTP in the past. I'm not sure if that's going to translate to this year's game, but it's definitely something to keep an eye out on. So I'd say Blue Jays, Mets, and maybe the Red Sox are our biggest potential trade partners. So let's look at some of the Mets arms here. See if we can go by position. So obviously they have a very good young staff. I doubt we're going to get anyone like Steven Matz or Matt Harvey or any of these guys. Maybe not even Jacob deGrom, I would think. He's having a very good year. I'm sure we would have to throw in our top prospect, probably a Blake Snell or someone of the like. Kiermaier, yep, no thanks. Matz, they already said they're not going to happen. Harvey, oh, hold on. Harvey here has got, I think, probably 2 years of team control left as well. So it doesn't make as much sense, but he at least is someone I would feel more comfortable paying as a free agent than paying Zach Wheeler, because I think I'd be fairly confident Harvey would be good for us. So I don't really like just getting Wheeler is the only thing, because he doesn't have enough team control left for that to be worth it for me. So it'd be nice to get a Dominic Smith or an Ahmed Rosario. Smith definitely projects as the better hitter, and he could be our first baseman of the future, even though we do have Gillespie and Bowers and a couple corner guys already. But even these kind of packages, they're not really liking. Rosario. We've got some middle infield prospects too, which is nice. Those are, often some tough spots to fill out, but Miller has been playing really well, and then hopefully Willie Adams can come up, and that can be our middle infield for the future. So let's go to the Red Sox. We'll throw Longoria back in there. Now, obviously, the Red Sox have already made a lot of sort of win-now trades. Their farm system is a bit depleted, but if we got a Jason Groom, that would be really, really spectacular. We'd have to give up another prospect like Lucius Fox. So maybe we can cobble together the equivalent of Lucius Fox with some other prospects. Maybe even a Colby Rasmus. I guess they can't afford Rasmus and Longoria. So maybe we throw in Joe McCarthy. I wouldn't mind giving him. Seems like could be a possible platoon bat. He plays 3 positions, which I like. Maybe even Johnny Field, although Field is pretty much valueless. I'd rather peel pieces off the Major League roster, but it seems like they can't really take on much more salary. Maybe a Nick Franklin I wouldn't be totally opposed to giving up, if it meant getting a prospect like Groom. But they seem pretty hell-bent on wanting Lucius Fox if they're going to give up Groom. So that's something I would consider. I assume we're not getting Devers, even if we gave up Fox, which that's a deal I totally would do. But I doubt they would do. But they seem to be pretty interested in Fox. So when a team is interested in someone like that, usually you can kind of play that to your advantage. But it doesn't appear we're going to be able to right now. We're not going to be able to get Benintendi or any other really good prospects or young players. We could possibly get a Blake Swihart, because they do have a few different catchers, and they traded for Brian McCann. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen. So trading is proving to be a little bit more challenging in this game. I think also when you play in challenge mode, the trade difficulty is turned all the way up to hard. So it makes a little bit of sense. Although, quite frankly, the fact that we can't get a better package for Longoria is pretty frustrating. So we know we can get Urena from the Blue Jays. Could we possibly also get someone like Rowdy Tellez? They would think about that. So I would like that. Tellez could be a good power hitting first baseman for us. Those are both guys who quite often turn out pretty well in this game, pretty good. All right, so we could definitely do a deal like that. We can give up a Jacob Faria, or who do we want to give up out of this list? Probably Faria, but I've seen Faria turn into a half-decent player before. Some people give up this guy instead. So this is one potential package. And then the last team I'm going to look at is the LA Dodgers, because that's a team that could use a third baseman, that always has pretty good prospects, and obviously has a lot of money. Now here are their prospects. So I don't think we're going to get any other top guys, although they're not completely insulted by these offers, which is a good sign. Willie Calhoun looks like he could be pretty good. Cody Bellinger is going to be a good power hitting first baseman. What if we could get Calhoun? Because Calhoun looks like he's almost ready too, so that's good to see that he's already progressed to that point. So we could get someone like Calhoun. Could we get Could we even get an Alex Verdugo? This is close to being fair. So this would be tough. One of these top Dodgers prospects versus the couple of guys from the Blue Jays. I think I would be fine throwing in a Matt Andriese or... Yeah, he's the guy I'd want to throw into this. So he's controllable, but I just don't think he's very good, quite frankly. Average pitcher, suitable number 3. As a rebuilding team, that doesn't do much for me. Those are guys I think I can find later down the road. If it means I can get a top prospect like an Alex Verdugo, or possibly, I mean, the thing is, I'd kind of like to get multiple guys if I'm going to be giving up this much of a package. So maybe it's Verdugo and Calhoun. Let me throw in another small piece for Calhoun. Faria, Fraley, yes, there's some other small pieces we could throw in. And what about if we could try and get Cody Ballinger out of it? Because this would be a serious package. If we could get three solid prospects like this. All right, so that might be a little bit much. I assume we could... Okay, so they actually value Bellinger more than Calhoun. That's fine. I like Calhoun. I think he's another guy that doesn't really have a great position. I mean, he probably could only play second base and DH, but that's fine. It's not the end of the world. So we've got a few different packages here. Pretty much 2 mainly. The Blue Jays one and the Dodgers one. The question is, which one do we like best? So I'm just looking at their Major League roster here, see if there's anything that intrigues us. Maybe a Jock Peterson, but that's going to be a tough one to pull, I think. If they wanted to trade. Ooh, okay. All right, that might be the move. They trade one of their left-handed hitting outfielders. I would love to get Peterson. Even though he does have flaws in his game, I think I really like him as a hitter. I like his profile. Could we get Peterson and Calhoun? Or even I doubt we get Peterson and Verdugo. They're throwing in something else pretty big. But Peterson's nice. We'd have 4 years of team control left, which is important. I'm not even sure we could do Peterson and Calhoun, unfortunately. So it might be kind of a one, sort of a 1-for-1. We're throwing in a bunch, but all right. So we could if we threw in Diaz, we could get Calhoun. I'm fine doing that. So I think this is going to be our move then, because Peterson. That's just too tough to say no to, I think. I mean, so we would have this year. Maybe he would only have 3 years of team control left after this, not 4 is the only thing. So that's a bit of a deterrent because I don't really know if our window is that long, or if our window is that short, I should say, our rebuilding window. But I really like Peterson. I think that would be a nice move. I think if we moved him to left field, his defense would be a lot better, and he could turn into a 4 or 5 win player for us. But man, that's tough because these guys could both be really good, and they would be controllable for a lot longer, both 6 years as opposed to 3. But I think they're definitely less of sure things. So it's tough, man. I don't really know what to do exactly. So I did check. Throwing in Diaz doesn't really help us get any closer to the Verdugo, Calhoun, Bellinger trifecta. So that's too bad. I think, as much as I like Peterson, only 3 years of team control kind of turns me off. I just think our window for rebuilding is going to be a little bit longer than that. It's gonna become problematic where we're gonna have to pay him. Just that point is gonna come up too soon, I think, for our rebuild. As much as I like Peterson as a player and as an offensive threat, it just doesn't make sense for us to make the move for him. So the only thing about Toronto is they don't need a third baseman. I don't understand why they're so interested in Longoria. I guess they could DH him. I guess you would DH him over Donaldson. But they're both really good third basemen. I don't know. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But I'm also, I'm not going to argue, and I'm not one to argue it. Let's see. They said they have a couple elite prospects here at third base and left field. I guess that would be Alford and Vlad Guerrero Jr. Even though their ratings aren't that high, but Alford, yeah, his hitting ratings are not any good, so I don't really want him. So I mean, I like these, and if you look at the scouting reports for arena. Like they look really good. Some scouts are projecting stardom for him, and Tellez graded out as a future everyday regular. So I really like that. Maybe we try to get a cost-controlled reliever in as well, if we could, like a Joe Biagini. Ooh, okay, we could do that. So I like that then, because Biagini's got 5 years of team control left. And the relievers, one of the biggest differences about this year's game from last year's game is the reliever market is so much different. You actually have to pay good prices to get good relievers, both in the free agent market and the trade market. So those are two very important things. And to be able to get a guy like Biagini, who's got a lot of team control left, I think that would be a nice little pickup. So we're going to throw him in. Other than that, I don't think I'm going to take anything else off of their major league roster. So I guess they move one of these guys to first base or DH one of them. I don't know. They could figure it out. It's another good right-handed bat. Would play well in that ballpark. We're going to have to deal with him for a while, but I'm hoping that this contract is actually going to kind of cripple them. I think Longoria will be good for a few more years, but I think kind of once we get to around here, it's not going to be worth it. And his value is definitely not going to be as high as it is now because he's 31. His production is going to start to go down soon. So I think this is going to be our move. Longoria and Alexander Alvarez for Richard Urena, Rowdy Tellez, and Joe Biagini. We'll see about getting anyone else to throw in. Guerrero seems to be the stud of the system. So getting him would be nice, but I think it's going to cost us a lot more to get him in this package. But we will check and see, because why not? Okay, so this one only cost us Andres, which I've already said I'm okay with giving him up. And then we get us Vlad Guerrero Jr. I like that a lot. Do I want him over both Bo Bichette and Anthony Alford is the question. These scouting reports are throwing me off, man. Like, Guerrero, I guess he has a good avoid K rating. He's probably viewed higher. I mean, if anything, we could probably use him as a trade chip. It seems like he's viewed higher as a prospect around the league than we would view him. But he's definitely worth in a vacuum giving up Andres. I mean, let's just look at the trade market for Andres. I'm sure it's not nearly as good as getting someone like Vlad Guerrero Jr., but we'll find out. It's worth doing our due diligence on. So here are the offers. A couple decent prospects. Kevin Davis. But for the most part, nothing really too spectacular. A couple good relievers, which wouldn't be bad. That's a nice cost control reliever. Mike Moore, and I saw some decent guys from the Dodgers. But definitely no top prospects. Definitely no one. Well, Alan Hansen, I guess you could consider a top prospect, although he's at the major league level now, playing pretty well. He's an interesting name to get for Andres. Would I rather have Hansen than Vlad Guerrero Jr.? It's a good question. I don't really need another major league ready infielder, but Hansen strikes me as I don't know. That's tough. Steady mechanics and should continue to improve. Seems like he's going to be a solid player for a while. He's definitely not going to hit like that, but he seems pretty solid. I think Guerrero. I'm a little bit nervous about playing that game with Guerrero where I trade for him and then I try to trade him later, because who knows how his value is gonna go. So I think we're just gonna hold on to Andres and do this trade, and then do an Andres trade separately. But there we go. The Evan Longoria trade. He is gone. I'm sure everyone is going to be very mad at me. Hopefully I don't get fired for that.